Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Naperville Park District Board of Commissioners Special Board Meeting. Today is Thursday, June 14th, 2018. Time is 5:33. Bridget, call the roll, please.
President Riley?
Here.
Vice President Janner? Absent. Commissioner Carlson?
Here.
Commissioner Egan? Absent. Commissioner Ensign?
Here.
Commissioner King?
Here.
Commissioner Todd?
Here.
Next item on the agenda is the Southwest Community Park Master Planning Presentation. Where you want to kick it off?
You guys are up. I'm a man of few words.
Perfect. Make sure that this is the mic is on. Well, thank you. My name is Jeff Leeds. I'm with CBG Architects. I'm here with John Mayer from ERA Consultants Engineering Firm, Civil Engineering Firm, and Michelle Kelly, Principal Landscape Architect for Upland Design. We are here to present the Southwest Community Park Master Plan. Try to go through these slides a little bit. Some of the, as you can see on the slide, we've gone a long way in a very short time frame. We started this process back in January with doing some inventory and site analysis, and then a couple of public meetings, stakeholder meetings, and then a lot of meetings with the Park District staff. And now to this day, we're here to propose what all of those meetings brought to us. A little bit of the site analysis. I'm not going to go into too much detail on this at all, but if anyone does have questions on this, what we did do is do a complete analysis of the existing site and then of the surrounding areas, which also included some of the adjacent properties. When we talk about park district planning, we think about the adjacent spaces and how we can connect to those, whether it be by road or by path. So as we go forward, I'd like to ask Michelle Kelly to take over from here and talk really in detail about the planning process and the process of really engaging the community, getting their input, and then to the point where we can present here today. So, Michelle.
Thank you, John. Okay. So, our first public meeting, March 1st, was really about images and ideas. We didn't want to draw any pictures until we really heard from the community. So you can see these posters with the images that actually were at that meeting. People got to put stickers on it. We had a little interactive session, and here's our second set. And immediately following this public input meeting, which was well attended, was an online survey. And we had 1,210 participants take that online survey to give us input on their priorities for this new park site. You can see here our votes. People had 5 votes for things they were interested in, and we were able to use this data before we even started concepts to go forward. The other piece, I'll just go back here, is the support amenities they didn't need to vote on those things. We knew those would be part of the park, and so we gave that to them up front. Don't worry, we will have bike racks and benches and restrooms, so that was not something they had to vote on as much. So then from here, we went into developing concept plans. We developed 3 different concept plans, narrowed those down to 2, and then took those, this is A here, and B, and we took these to stakeholder meetings. And we actually had 2 stakeholder meetings to make sure people were at 2 different times and could come and make it to the meeting. And at that meeting, they were able to vote on many different things, but one of the votes was, which plan do you like better? And overwhelmingly, concept A was given as the thing, the plan that really seemed to fit the best. People also gave us priorities, which helps us when we start even looking at phasing. What are those priorities? So that also helped us as we continue to take that master plan idea, that concept, forward into a preliminary master plan. So this is the draft that we took the public meeting on April 25th. And again, we presented this, and you'll see part of that presentation tonight. And we let people vote. We had an interactive session. People were able to use their smart devices. They were able to vote on priorities, both for the park site and a potential future activity center on the site. So you can see here at that meeting, the paved loop trail, when we looked at park site amenities, was number one. And then the playground, the nature area, and as you go down the line, those were the priorities that came out through that. Both the 32 attendees of the meeting as well as the 884 respondents that we had online. So we again put this out online and made sure that people were able to have multiple ways to give inputs. As part of that, we wanted to get just a little bit more information about what community would like in the future for the building. Our initial input session said that water was really important, and so we asked a question during the secondary survey of what aquatic priorities people had. And so this, you can see the indoor splash and play zone ended up being number one, with the 8-lane 25-meter yard competition pool is number two, going down the line. Just really good information for future planning. And then also indoor center priorities. This gave us and the purchaser, everyone, a real background for that future planning. So this is the plan that came out of all of those meetings. It continued to get tweaked throughout the process. You know, from the early concepts to here, things adjusted, they moved, and we feel like this plan really reflects what the community has asked for. So I'm going to go through some of the details of that. First, the future activity center. You can see that big yellow circle there is a 1,000 square foot site that could be 100,000. Jeff thinks we can't build it for 1,000 square feet. That's going to be a problem. 100,000 square feet. If you're looking at just a single story, so it's not talking about 2 stories or multiple stories, but that gives a nice size building footprints for the future. And then trails and paths are number one item that people often ask for in community surveys, but also we saw during this interaction with the community for this site. We ended up with 1.78 miles of asphalt trail. It's 10 foot wide, so it makes it easy for multi-use and connections to the south. To the Forest Preserve, where there's already an existing trail along the common right-of-way and a connection to the Forest Preserve property. Also, connections out both to the north and to the east, to the neighborhood, and the existing right-of-way sidewalks or trails, depending on which side you're on. So we're connecting both the inside of the park to the larger community and the Forest Preserve. This slide shows native plantings. That yellow buffer area you see around the edges, that is a combination of a little bit of wetland area as well as short grass and tall grass prairie, and even some woodland trees that have a savanna look. This was a very high rated element as well on the site, and it also does a really nice job of buffering the trail area and makes a more enjoyable experience as you go through a loop in the park. Now we're on the west and southwest corner of the site. The area here on the very west is the low point on the site. So this makes a great spot for putting some native wetland area and where we're already probably have some water draining to it. But you can see we also are looking for some interactive pieces, whether it's an outdoor classroom or a woodland deck right next to our wetland. This is an area where you kind of feel like you're getting away and you're in the whole area of nature. And then just next door is our challenge course and fitness area. So a challenge course is something that you might see on the Ninja Warrior show. It's a little bit more challenging. We have a lot of preteens and teens that are very interested in this and will actually time themselves when they use it. But people that are into fitness and want that next level up from a typical fitness course will also use this facility. But along with it, we're putting the easier fitness equipment, something that if you're older or have mobility issues, or you're just starting out on your fitness plan, you can have something that's a little bit simpler to use. There's also some shaded areas or some seating areas right next to it, so you have a little bit of social area as part of it. And then it connects into the trail system. And as you can see, it is right next door to our multi-purpose hill area. So you can enjoy the challenge course, the fitness, and then you can take a set of stairs right up the hill. And so you can see in the upper left-hand corner, this is a Swallow Cliff. It's not going to be that tall, but this gives you the idea of how you can do a set of stairs on a hillside, and this hill really becomes multi-use, year-round use, and for many people to use. So that's one side of stairs. But for everyone who might have a wheelchair or a stroller or doesn't want to do the stairs, you can take the long route and have an accessible route to that hilltop as well, giving us a nice gazebo at the top for lookout and a great place to sled in the wintertime. Do you feel like you're on a Disney tour? All right, next is the multi-purpose ball fields. So this is very much on the east part of the site and the southeast. Starting in the upper corner, we have 2 ball diamonds with fenced out fields, skinned infields, lighted, as well as having your typical dugout seating shaded areas. And then to the north of the central shade is 2 batting cages and a storage area. Coming down from there and kind of in the center of the site is 2 multi-purpose fields. We're showing them at 120 by 180. Those are natural turf, but really they are multi-use. You could turn them, you could do smaller size fields. They're made to be adjustable for different age groups to be able to use. Those are also lighted. And then finally, to the southeast corner, we have, again, shown as 210 by 330, so full-size soccer fields. Also could be lacrosse, 2 full-size lacrosse. And then if we went east-west, we would have full-size rugby, 1 full-size rugby field. So we're showing them as soccer so you can kind of get a feel. People know a soccer field, but they really are multi-purpose fields. These, in this case, are shown as artificial turf, and they would also be lighted. Next is our sport court area. So this particular area is kind of all those other sports, 2 full-size basketball, 2 full-size tennis, 4 pickleball courses with a shade area in the center, so you see the red line, so you can kind of walk right through the center of the court, so there's a little bit of shade and seating. Pickleball is very social, so this is a way to encourage that socialness and between games or just watching if you're not playing that day. And then to the west, 1 sand volleyball court. That was one of our comments when we had gone back to the public. We didn't have a sand volleyball, and we had some good input, like, wait, we need sand volleyball. So sand volleyball got added in. And then the playground is both a 2 to 5 and a 5-year-old playground area, all in one large area with poured-in-place rubber surfacing. And then just to the east, there's a nice shelter, and we call it a shared shelter because it's really between a splash pad and the playground area. So great place to be in the middle if you're a parent needing to watch multiple kids, but also a nice place to get out with sun. And here's our splash pad to the east. Again, something that was highly voted on and people were excited about. This has both ground level, so you can see the kids in the lower left, ground level pieces, as well as above ground, whether it's shooting cannons or sprays that come out from a tube. It has those different levels of play for the different age groups. And then a large shade fabric piece over the middle of it. So sun continues to be an issue for a lot of kids, and this is a great way to provide some shade and water at the same place. The other thing is you'll see this is a fenced in, so provide some control for parents as well as for the park district to be able to shut and close it, and a nice big lawn area. So if you want to bring a blanket out and a cooler and they want to hang out with lunchtime, there's some extra space within that fenced zone. Okay, of very much importance, a restaurant building, you can see kind of centrally located right between the playground and the splash pad. Also easy to access from our soccer fields and the loop trail system. This is shown as an 8-unit restaurant building, mostly family style. And here's our community shelter. This is a large shelter for renting, as well as be a great place to have events. It looks out on this large lawn area and a sled hill, but it also has easy access to the parking lot for bringing your cooler in or dropping off grandma who wants to come and join the festivities. All right, that was all the main pieces of the master plan, and so this really shows you full build out without knowing maybe what that building footprint exactly is, but a nice large space to allow it. And then what we did is work in the Park District on creating a phase one. And so this next slide shows you the phase one, which is what's proposed now. And it leaves that whole northeast corner as flexible. So the ball fields could come later, there's the smaller multi-purpose fields could come later, and the building. And like I said, lots of flexibility. At the same time, on the east, the inner loop, it's a half-mile trail, and throughout, if you take the whole outer loop, you get just under a mile. So again, trails is one of the main things people ask for. This phase one plan really still answers that question for the number one thing people ask for, as well as almost every other item that, with just a minor few things that people were requesting out on the site. All right, questions?
Do we have any questions?
So the plan overall with the ball fields and kind of how it sits, I think it's awesome the way it's designed. Two questions. Number one, given that ball fields were like number 2 on the list, I think 26% of the folks requested ball fields, but sand volleyball got added later, and that's made phase one, but the ball fields did not. So I'm puzzled by that. And then kind of related to that question, assuming if we did build ball fields in phase one, the distance from the ball fields to the bathroom, as enjoying t-ball the last couple of years and currently coach pitch and trying to get my son to the bathroom because they always wait till the last second and trying to go get to the bathroom. That distance seems far. Is it part of the vision is if a building is built, the bathrooms would be accessible from the outside of those ball fields, or that a bathroom station down the road would be built?
It was certainly the thought that the building really could serve the north area with restrooms, and yes, it is a little bit further to go, but as you see, they're not built in phase one, and maybe
Ray, did you have any comment?
Yes, and actually, I'll let Brad comment here in a second about the ball fields. And the timing of this was such as we just met with the Naperville Little League. And I'll let Brad provide some basic information about why we're not proposing ball fields in this first phase.
Sure. One of the things that we looked at this spring was really a study of our existing baseball fields throughout the entire park system and the overall utilization of those fields for games. We worked with Naperville Little League as well as Wheatland Athletic Association. We've looked at schedules from the NBA and a number of other baseball organizations that utilize the fields and began to take a look at our overall capacity for games on those fields compared to what is actually scheduled on those fields this spring. And what we found is that there's a number of fields throughout the park system where we have quite a bit of capacity still available to accommodate any growth within existing baseball programs on the existing fields that we have. So the recommendation is to not include the ball fields in phase one of this project, but to design it in a way that it could accommodate future fields if there's that demonstrated need in the years to come.
Brad, does that include available capacity in this general area town?
Yes. So this the study was throughout the entire community, looking at our ball fields throughout the entire park system, and we do have ball fields that are in the south area of Naperville that do have capacity that's still available.
Thank you. I have a question about actually 2 areas of questions. One is on the restrooms. How did you determine the number of restrooms or number of facilities? What was that based on?
Yeah, mostly experience, working on other sports complexes and looking at numbers. And one of the areas we had talked about was, you know, men's side versus women's side, and then also how that relates to the parent that's bringing a kid to the bathroom, and that's how we ended up with the family style being much more useful, because if you have, say, a boys tournament, well, there's gonna be a lot more boys wanting the restroom, and if you have a girls tournament, same thing. So this way, the family style allows for that flexibility, so you could have really 8 restrooms when you have that, but also for the different sex of parents that might be taking a younger one.
Thank you. The other question area I had was, we've got a lot of lighted facilities planned here. And that's great for the participants. And I know we're going to follow all the city ordinances, but what about the factor of light spillover into adjacent neighborhoods?
Great question. So most of our light is on that east side of the park and the southeast side. And what's nice is that not only do we have that native buffer of the trail and then the buffer, we also have along that whole east side, we have detention. We have the large detention areas that were created for this site, and so that is giving us over 100 feet of buffer, you know, along that side. And we felt like, besides the fact that we have a cutoff system that we were looking at which cuts that light off at the edge of the field, we also have a nice distance.
Thank you. Commissioner Todd, do you have any questions?
No, I'm good. I like this design very much. I'm good.
Commissioner King?
No, just one after that. It's a very nice plan.
Commissioner Cross?
Looks great.
Commissioner Ensign?
I got my questions answered at the public meetings, we'll see, but I'm impressed with the plan.
Commissioner Regan?
I wasn't done with baseball fields, but you talked to Naperville Little League and Wheatland, but what about our own programs? So specifically, I'm thinking of coach pitch and the machine pitch. So tonight, I'm missing my son's baseball game that starts in 5 minutes to be here. And we usually get use of the larger field, or the real field, if you will, and the kids get all excited about that. But tonight, we're going to be in the grass because Little League has the field. So we're going to be getting attacked by the Nats in order to, well, they're getting attacked by the Nats to play. So in that same vein, I understand Little League and Wheatland, but what about our own programs and looking at getting them on real fields? And then if the public is requesting 26%, and the input that you guys received, I don't think we've ever had more input since I've been around at least on the project. 26% of the people want ball fields, they're paying the bill. Why aren't we putting ball fields in phase 1?
Well, with respect to our own in-house programs, that was also considered. We looked at the field utilization of both our the girls softball program that utilizes some of these same fields, as well as our coach pitch program that begins. Coach pitch and our softball programs begin towards the end of May and work into then the months of June and early July. We still felt that based upon what we're seeing as far as some of the utilization numbers, and we have a large number of fields that are below 50% as far as the number of games scheduled on those fields versus capacity. We feel that internally, working with our own staff as well as with these athletic organizations, that we can do a better job of scheduling out the fields for the games that take place on those fields. Now, practices is something that we tend to move more towards the grass areas and backstops for the practices, and that's what we try to utilize within a lot of our own in-house programs as well. But again, looking at the overall field utilization, taking into account even our own programs and softball, we felt that based on the current utilization that the additional fields were not warranted at this time at this location.
Thank you. I have a question I'd like to direct to Executive Director McGurry. One of the things that came out in the community input was the issue of water, be it indoor water, outdoor water, splash pad, whatever. Could you address that?
Certainly, President Riley. We've seen a consistent theme since, correct me if I'm wrong, Brett, 2005, over 4 different surveys of people requesting indoor water in Naperville. And for a number of reasons, the biggest one obviously being funding, to be able to put in a pool. because let me just say publicly, you cannot sustain an aquatic center only without having a building around it to support the aquatics function. Basically, the numbers on an 8-lane, 25-yard pool, I believe Eric, again, I'm not going to make put you on the spot, but somewhere in the area of $6 to $8 million just for that. And then about $500,000 a year to upkeep. And that's just the 8 lanes. And that's not a warming pool. That's not, they were also requesting the public, something like an indoor play feature for water. So there's a lot of moving parts with indoor water. There's a couple people out in the crowd tonight from the Western DuPage Special Rec Association. Sandy can wave over there. The CEO and Nancy Miner, two stalwart people that advocate on behalf of those with special needs. I know they would love to see indoor water in Naperville. Another gentleman in the crowd, Tom Myers, a board member of the YMCA, who is a great partner of ours. My plan moving forward, and I've already set this meeting with the CEO of Metro Chicago YMCA, is to sit down and see what their plan is moving forward within the city of Naperville as it relates to water. It's been pretty public that the Crayler YMCA at some point in downtown Naperville is going to close. I don't have a date on that, and I'm not privy to that, nor should I be. I'm not with the YMCA. But that probably will happen at some point in time, and that will displace some people there, and I don't have that number as to how many use that facility to swim. The second issue is, and I hate to do this with the press being here, but you'll go ahead and use this line, is to quote Sarah Palin, that I can see Russia from my backyard. Southwest Community Park, you can see Oswego from your backyard. Love Oswego. Great partner of ours as well. My belief as the executive director as well as staff is to put a facility with water at that location poses some really financial concerns for us as an organization. We believe it's just too far southwest in the city to move forward with something like that. At this point, I'm not slamming the door on that, but what we would like to do is come back to this board by the end of the year with some options in which to either address indoor water or let the community know one way or the other we're not going to address indoor water. I think they deserve an answer because they've been waiting since 2005. We could not address it at Fort Hill because unlike other entities in government, I was given a budget and was told to stay within that budget, was told not to go over that budget, and we as a staff did not. So we delivered what I believe is a Class A facility on time and under budget. And if I sound like I'm tooting our horn, I am. So to undertake a venture of a 100,000 square foot facility with indoor water, I think there's got to be a whole lot more analysis and demand shown to this community before we would do something like that. So to Commissioner Deegan's point about the percentages, he's absolutely correct. You see water, again, is high. Now, in full disclosure, a lot of the surveys online potentially could have been taken by 50, 60, 70 members of swim teams. Members online for the Naperville Little League potentially could have registered 50, 60, 70 times for baseball fields. I can tell you 4 statistically significant valid surveys, though, that are weighted and done by a consultant show that indoor water certainly is requested in the community. So moving forward, again, I think the first step is to sit down with the why and just kind of see what the why is going to do here. The why comes back to me and says, our plan is to, tear Crayler down at some point and build a new Crayler with water. Then maybe the Park District doesn't need to build indoor water. Maybe the why takes care of that for us and the community. If they don't, well, then there's a discussion that we further. So I'd like to do this in steps, and I wanted to put this on the record because some people will read the newspaper tomorrow. Why did I waste my time voting for indoor water? And you've again turned your back on us, and I have not turned our backs on you. Just this particular parcel of land, I don't think it's fiscally responsible to move forward and to try to force the square peg in the round hole by putting a building down there with water because we need water. Okay? Thank you.
Vice President Jenner, you just arrived and heard perhaps the tail end of the presentation, but did you have any questions about Southwest Community Park or any of the discussion, or do you frankly need some update?
No, I reviewed the packet thoroughly and participated in the meeting with staff, so I'm good right now.
Any other general questions? Well, certainly, thank you for this presentation. This is, this is an important step in a fairly involved process. And to echo what Ray is saying, we look to provide recreation park experiences for the community. And so we're certainly not blocking out anything. Everything comes with a cost, so we have to balance the benefit against the cost and try to do the best with the taxpayer dollars we've been entrusted with. So, Ray?
Eric, could you just give us next steps for the public and for the press?
Yes, so for this evening, we are requesting or seeking direction from the board, first to look at funding options, which we could bring back for discussion at the June 28th workshop. And secondly, direction from the board to allow staff to work with the consultant team to prepare a proposal for the next phase of A&E services for consideration to also be brought back to a workshop for consideration by the board.
So the first request you're asking is for consensus to move forward to get pricing.
Yeah, yes, correct. And in general, right now, we're requesting a consensus from the board on to proceed with phase 1. And then 1A would be the funding options, and 1B would be requesting a proposal for A&E services.
Any commissioners have questions on that process?
I don't see phase 1 moving forward without ball fields personally.
Say again, sir?
I don't see us doing phase 1 without the ball field. So my position would be build phase 1. I'm okay with that. I love the plan overall. But from where I stand, ball fields need to be there.
Do other commissioners agree with Eric's recommendation?
I'm good.
Anyone else disagree, I should say?
I'm good with Eric's presentation.
Vice President Jenner?
Yes, I agree, and as for the comment about ball fields, being very familiar with baseball and softball in our town, I don't feel, as much as I'd like to see more ball fields as a baseball and softball enthusiast, there really is not the burning need nor demand for additional fields. In my view, the organizations out there are being adequately and properly served by the quantity of fields we have at present.
Commissioner Zenson, Carlson?
I'm comfortable moving forward on the funding, etc. Yep, move forward.
Okay. Eric, you have consensus to move forward? Need anything else from us?
No, that's perfect. That gives us the direction of staff to proceed. Like I mentioned, at the June 28th workshop, there will be funding options for discussion with the board.
Finance Committee also will be reviewing funding options on June 26th, 7:30 a.m. in the boardroom downstairs at the admin building. You can make it.
So that's in preparation, teeing up discussion at the June 28th workshop.
Thank you. Any closing comments on this? Okay, then next item on our agenda is matters from the public, and Bridget, you previously gave me, we have one person signed up to speak, Mary Lou Worley.
Thank you. I'm Mary Lou Worley, and I'm here not only as myself, but also for people that either couldn't make it, like a dozen or so, or are not comfortable at all speaking in public. First, I'll start with my experience with this on my behalf, from my opinion. I think this has been a very worthwhile and very well executed community outreach process, and I think the results are to be commended to the team here and to you and the staff. I think it's been very well done with a good plan going forward. The thing I'm commenting on behalf of others and myself, is Southwest Community Park. Is that name in stone? It used to be the Wolf Family Farm. It's on Wolf Crossing. there's interest in the community that perhaps that name get changed to Wolf Crossing Park, so you kind of can honor history as well as location. So I don't know if that's a done deal or not, but I'm hoping that you will give consideration to that going forward. Thank you.
And Mary Lou, that same question was asked of us by the press prior to our getting started tonight. And Southwest Community Park, that name is a placeholder. It was attached to the property after acquisition because of its location, and that's really all it is right now. Consideration for naming, that'll be a set of decisions that comes down the road. But thanks for bringing it up. Thank you.
Move to adjourn the June 14th, 2018 special meeting.
Second.
Second. We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Would you call the roll, please?
Vice President Janner?
Yes.
Commissioner Ensign?
Yes.
Commissioner Carlson?
Yes.
Commissioner Egan?
Aye.
Commissioner King?
Yes.
Commissioner Todd?
Yes.
President Riley?
Yes. We are adjourned.